Hi, I'm Heather.
I'm Jack.
And we are going batty, and today we are going to make biscuits and gravy.
Really?
Yes, really. Jack loves biscuits and gravy. Well, we had a little bit of a disappointment today. We were supposed to go to Kings Island and ride roller coaster and have amusement park fun, and it is pouring down rain. And they don't run the rides when it rains because you can't stop the rides when it rains. So my disappointed children get to have biscuits and gravy this morning for breakfast because, you know, I'm a good mama and that's what I do, I guess. I feed the sorrow.
Happy dance.
All right, so I'm going to show you guys a little trick. Right here, we ran, our milk went bad, like our milk in the gallon. So this is our Thrive Life milk that we reconstituted. But I'm going to show you a trick. Like if you don't have buttermilk, you can take a little bit of vinegar, maybe about a couple teaspoons up to a tablespoon, and put that in your milk, and then you'll stir it up, and it will make something close to buttermilk. It won't actually be real buttermilk, but it will give it that thickness so that you can use it as a replacement for buttermilk and things, because a lot of times we don't have buttermilk sitting around here. It's something that we just don't use enough to have it here all the time. So we're going to let this sit as we mix everything else together, and then we'll have what is a substitute for buttermilk here. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to have Jack add our baking powder, our salt, and our sugar in here. And now we're going to mix all that together. We mixed it into our flour. That was our flour in the big bowl. We're going to mix that all together, just like that. And then the next thing that we're going to do is I have taken, this is very cold butter. I've cut it into little chunks, and we're going to put that in here, and we're going to toss it around with our hand a little bit and coat each little piece of butter with flour. All right, so we're going to put these in here and kind of break them apart and make sure. All right, so now your next step. A lot of people use a pastry blender. I don't. I have never owned one, and I don't particularly care for them too much. What I do is I just use my hands. You have to work fast because you don't want to melt the butter. What you're going to do is you're going to take those and you're going to pinch them like this into the flour. All right, so we've got that butter all incorporated, and if you kind of look in there, it kind of looks like, I don't know, kind of like breadcrumbs, maybe that, you know, where you've got all your butter kind of mixed in, but it doesn't look like flour anymore. It's got a little more of a texture to it. So the next thing that we're going to add into it is we're going to add our milk that we put our vinegar in. And then we're going to mix it. And you're going to mix it, you're not going to over mix it. You're just going to mix it till it kind of comes together and most of the wetness is, you know, kind of incorporated into the flour. All right, so it's going to kind of look like that right there. And I know it doesn't look all mixed together, but that's okay because we got another step coming. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our flour and we're going to flour the surface. Can you get me paper towel? We're going to take our flour, we're going to throw it out onto our counter like this. And then we're going to turn our dough out on top of our flour. And we're going to start kind of squishing it together. And then we're going to start kind of folding it in. You can see how it's starting to come together. And when I need dough, any dough, bread dough, biscuit dough, you take it, you fold it over itself, and you push. And then you turn it, fold it, push. Turn it, fold it, push. And that's how you knead your dough. All right, so now we've got our dough kind of in a rectangle shape. And what we're going to do is we're just going to roll it out until it's about, I don't know, about a ½ inch thick. That's kind of how we like ours. And I'm missing my rolling pin. I don't particularly care for the kind with the ball bearings in it. I like the French style rolling pins a little better. All right, we're going to cut these out now, and I like using a pizza pan to do my biscuits on, because when you put your biscuits on here, they need to be touching each other so that way they can raise up better. So we're going to go ahead and cut these out and put them onto our pizza pan. All right, so now we've got all of our biscuits cut out. We have them in the pan. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your thumb and you're going to push down in the center of them. Now, don't ask me why you do that. My grandmother always did this. I think it's to help it like spread them out so that you make sure that they're touching the edge and they're touching each other. Because doing that helps them to raise up. All right, so the next thing that my grandmother always did was she took milk and she would take her fingers and she would just coat the top of it. So this is the milk that we're going to be using for our gravy. So it's not like I'm contaminating it or anything, and my hands are clean. So, and then you just coat the top of your biscuits with the milk. All right, so we're done doing that. So now we're going to take these and we're going to put them in a 425-degree oven. And we're going to let them cook for 15 to 20 minutes until they're nice and like golden brown on the top. That's what you're looking for. So here we go in the oven. And then timer for 25 minutes, or 15. We're going to start with 15 minutes. All right. All right, so I'm going to have Jack put in the sausage right now. And we heated our pan up. You want the pan pretty hot, and now we're going to squish it with our sausage squisher. Alright, so this sausage is a little leaner than most sausage. I found that like with the sausage you buy at Aldi's, it doesn't have a whole lot of grease in it. It has a little bit, but we're going to need a little more for what we're doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some butter to it to give us the amount of fat that we need in order to make our roux for our sausage gravy.
Smells good.
Yeah, it does. Alright, so now we've got our fat in there, we've got our sausage. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, and this is where my recipe is going to get, where I'm not sure exactly how much you measure. It's about 2 heaping tablespoons of flour for like a pound of sausage in that butter that you put in. So what we're going to do is you're making a roux. And you got to cook that raw flour taste out of your sausage. I mean, out of your flour, and you're cooking. You're making sure that it's got everything is kind of coated, and sometimes you kind of have to eyeball it. It'll start to get kind of shiny looking. There'll be a little bit of sticking to the bottom of your pan, but you need to kind of move it around and make sure that raw flour taste is cooked out of it. And when you move stuff around, you'll start to see it start to get a little brown on the bottom of your pan. That's what you're looking for, but not too brown. So we're going to actually turn our heat down because we were cooking it on high to get the sausage brown. And you'll start to smell where the flour smells toasted. Okay, so now we're going to add our liquid. And we're going to stir it up. I like using a fork with this because it'll scrape all the little bits off the bottom of the pan. And we're just going to let that cook for a little while. It'll come up to a boil. You'll keep stirring it. We'll let it cook for a while until it starts to really thicken up. Okay, so it's thickened up. You can see it's like pretty thick here. So we're going to turn our heat down. Actually, we can turn our heat off because it's done cooking. But right now we're going to test it for to see if we need any seasoning in it. The salt, see if it needs salt, see if it needs, it's going to need pepper, but yeah, it needs some salt. And then we're going to put some pepper in it too. All right, and then let's put some pepper in it. We like quite a bit of pepper in ours. baby. Get it all mixed up in there. Oh, is it hot? I told you it was hot. Is it good?
Yeah, that's really good.
Look, our chickens aren't slackers anymore. I'm making scrambled eggs for everybody, and our chickens have finally started laying eggs again. So we got a whole basket of eggs that are from our chickens. Because I hate when I have chickens and I have to go to the grocery store and buy eggs at the grocery store. All right, so when I make my scrambled eggs for my family, yes, we have a lot of eggs there. I actually use half and half in mine. I don't use milk. And I just put a little bit of that in there when I make scrambled eggs. All right, so now we're going to pour this into here. And we have a pretty hot pan going on. But what I'm going to do is I start it out at the highest temperature and then I turn it almost completely off. So when I do scrambled eggs, I just kind of push the egg towards the middle, the part that's been cooked. And we had butter in that pan. So we're going to keep cooking these eggs. Now we like ours, we don't like ours crispy. We like ours where they're kind of creamy. So we're going to cook them until they're kind of a creamy texture. And then I'm going to show you my little secret step that my mom taught me to get really, really great scrambled eggs. Ooh, okay, there we go. Our biscuits are golden brown and delicious. Those look yummy. Ooh. So we're going to take those out. And then we're going to take a stick of butter. And we're going to rub it all over the hot biscuits. All over the top, because that makes it even yummier. So here is the secret ingredient here. You put a little bit of butter right before it gets done and kind of pull it off the heat and just mix it in, because I've got my heat completely off now, because you want to get them right before they start to get super firm, because like I said, we still like ours creamy. And this will also be, after you get the butter mixed in, that's when you'll add your salt and pepper to taste. All right, so there we go. That's our biscuits and gravy and scrambled eggs a la Meemaw style. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Make sure you like and subscribe, and more updates as we go.